Hello, hello. Um, oh, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Um, having some technical difficulties today, but what else is new? Um, so, if you're having trouble hearing me, or something kind of stops working, just let me know. Oh, great. Okay, good. Yeah, Key helped me set up a whole fancy split audio setup so that I could have like control over the individual audio sources. But it's all a little fancy for me, and I don't really know what I'm doing. And Key is having a little nap. She is quite exhausted. So I do not want to disturb her. Just to fix my audio. So we're gonna have to settle for just my attempts at troubleshooting throughout the night. But welcome in. Thanks for coming. I plan on just taking it easy. I have to build another character for Wednesday so that there is a particular role that I have in mind, and I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to kind of share my building process with y'all and my kind of thoughts. We're gonna be doing another homebrew class. This time the class is called The Princess, and I have posted the source material that I'm going to be using as a reference in the Discord. So credit where credit is due to those creators. They did a great job, and I have posted the material there, and you'll be able to see all of that. Now, that being said, I am using it as a point of reference and for inspiration, but as per usual, we might be making some changes. I'm gonna keep it in and out. Oof, big oof. I'm so sorry, Yana. But yeah, you're welcome to just hang out and have like some background noise or some ambient, nerd conversations going on. You're also welcome to weigh in, ask questions, or make suggestions as we go through this process and get our character built. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the dimensions just a little bit. I think I'm gonna zoom out a little. We don't necessarily need it to be that big. Much better. Okay. That's still pretty big. It's still pretty clear, from what I can tell. Yeah, no throwing in the towel just yet. You gotta stick around for a little bit longer. I'm so sorry. But with that being said, I think everything is roughly stabilized, so we're gonna go ahead and try to get started here. So, like I said, this is for a character that I have in mind for Wednesday, but not too much of a spoiler. Yeah, Ionith, if you're gone, who's gonna feed Beck Muffin? That's just not acceptable. Can't let her go hungry. Okay, so the princess. Just get comfy and hang in there. For some of us, there is immense pressure to fulfill our roles. Whether born into the responsibility or we choose this duty ourselves, we are strong because we must be. We are resigned because sacrifices must be made for the greater good, right? But remember that you are alive. There is a beating heart between your rigid back and bruised ribs. It's okay to defy expectations. You owe no one compliance. So you stand your ground and refuse to compromise away another piece of yourself. But what does that make you now? Oh, hey, welcome on in, Crafty Kaiju. Good to see you. I hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. We are just getting started. Have not missed a thing. We're just going to be doing some very chill prep work for Wednesday, spoiler free, but you are welcome to hang out and offer suggestions or ask questions as I go through this. So glad to have you. There once was a beautiful princess who did everything exactly as she was asked. Not because she lacked independence, but rather because her sense of duty was so great that she was determined to fulfill her role to her utmost. But in contrast, there was a king who cared not for duty, but valued beauty and his own ego above all else. Enamored with the lovely princess, he demanded her hand in marriage, and she became his queen. As the most powerful woman in the land, she took this responsibility very seriously and worked day and night to serve her people and be a good leader. No matter what the situation demanded, she always came through, even if it was with growing resignation. Until one day, she finally had enough. The king, glutted with drink and foolishness, finally pushed her too far, and so she did something no one, not even she herself, ever expected. She broke free. After divorcing the king, she reclaimed her old title as princess and set out on a journey to redefine that role, not only for herself, but for all princesses to come. So my inspiration for wanting to do this is that I feel like, as far as fantasy classes are concerned, there's a real missed opportunity to really explore and codify a lot of these like fantasy damsel tropes that get used in a lot of like classic fantasy stories. Your princess is in another castle. Like, how many times have we heard that story? And then of course there is the popularity of princesses in media, but that is largely relegated to, oh, that's only for little girls. Like, only little girls can want to be princesses and stuff like that. And now, I have my feelings about monarchy in the real world. That's enough to be said. But I think what we're looking at more so than the literal meaning of the position is more, like I said, the tropes involved. Hell yeah, Crafty Kaiju, exactly. So I kind of was interested in a class that would explore some of these tropes, and I came across a build, or rather a homebrew class posted online by user ninja_prawn, and others, I'm sure, who have contributed to this. And I'm gonna be going through some of those options as we build our princess. Now, once again, if you want to see the material that I'm referencing, I have posted all of it. Unfortunately, I no longer have the link. This was quite a long time ago that I found this, so I don't have the link anymore, but I posted the pages themselves in the character crafting channel on the Discord. So if you're not already in the Discord, you can find the link in my bio. Head there and you will see the reference sheets for everything that we're going to talk about today. Hey, Turn-Based Trauma, welcome in. We're just about to get started here on our homebrew princess. So I'm going to read you guys some of the flavor text off of the sheets here. The damsel in distress, the secluded one in the forest with her fairy folk as her only friends, the warrior who fights for her land or cause. Princesses come in all shapes and sizes, but there are a few qualities that bind them: charisma, inspiration, and majesty. For some, being a princess is not just a title or background, and they excel at it. They epitomize the role and put their energy into developing their status and power as a princess, and thus the princess class is born. Her title. Princesses are inherently dependent upon their title of being, well, princesses. Should she lose her title, she has fallen. Should she become a queen, she has ascended. Pay particular attention to these variant rules later on, should she ever fall or ascend. While many of her features depend upon her possessing the title of a princess, a creature need not know she is one to be affected by her abilities. And so I think that is very appropriate for, what we are talking about here. So our princess in particular is a princess who did ascend. She did become queen. But when the foolish and arrogant king pushed her too far, she couldn't take it anymore, and she said enough is enough, and she divorced him and took back her original status as a princess to start adventuring and sort of redefining what that role means for herself. So we are firmly in our princess era here. Now, I'm taking a look at some of our quick build kind of recommendations here. And as we said before, we're going to be leaning heavily on some of the more mental traits, charisma, wisdom, intelligence, that sort of thing. And so that might sway what decisions we want to make with regard to race. So, we have a few choices. Now there is of course, what is the class if it doesn't have a fun subclass? So there is a subclass of princess that is more martially oriented. That would be the ever popular warrior princess. Shout out to my Xena fans who may or may not be in the audience. I was a big fan when I was little. And we had Xena on all the time. And I just loved that. Crafty Kaiju says, can a duchess, countess, or baroness gain the benefits of this class? I want to say yes, because I feel like all women in some sort of leadership position or responsibility, as along those lines, share certain thematic traits, such as they're often expected to have a high level of education. They're often expected to be an example or a paragon of like womanly virtue to others. There's often a lot of pressure on them to perform or to conform to, society's expectations and gender roles. And, so I think that, any character that wants to embrace that and try to excel at that and, have that work for them, I think could take the princess class, whether or not canonically in the narrative the character is a literal princess, or if like Crafty Kaiju suggests, they're like a duchess or a countess or a baroness, all along those lines. Crafty Kaiju says, love Xena. It would not be complete without that archetype. You are so right. And I am so excited to talk about it, because the creators of this this reference clearly have Xena in mind, as they give us a Bola and Chakram option for our princess weapons. So hang tight on that. We are going to definitely talk about the warrior princess class, but I think for our purposes, that our princess is much more the type who fights without, physically getting into the ring. Like, she is all about that mental game, and about kind of knowing how to leverage her diplomacy and intelligence and leadership skills. So Beck Muffin says, of course Xena was on Aloha when you were a kid. You know it. And nothing like being raised by lesbians in the 90s. A lot of Xena, a lot of Cher. So those are always going to have a fun place in my heart. But let's delve a little bit deeper. So they are going to cover all your bases here. All princesses are going to get certain class features. At first level, you are going to get something called Inspiring Call and Inspiring Touch. Inspiring Call is you may utilize your voice to call out to your allies for aid and to inspire them to achieve greater feats in the service of yourself or that which you call for. In order to use this feature, you must be able to speak, and as an action, an ally within 60 feet of you that you can see gains an Inspiring Call dice. Within a minute, they must use this extra dice on any roll or saving throw. They can choose to use the dice after they roll, but not before success or failure is determined. So very much bardic inspiration here, kind of reflavored, retooled. And honestly, I think that it makes sense. We're talking about characters that are supposed to be good leaders, and are able to motivate others. So I think this makes a lot of sense. And to me, it kind of touches upon that princess trope where, they are able to just cry out, and there's almost always someone conveniently nearby to hear and come to their aid. I kind of think it plays with that a little bit. Our Inspiring Touch is kind of going to work similarly. Your touch is an inspiring and uplifting one. You gain a pool of hit points that you can heal using the touch, equal to your levels as a princess times 5. As an action, you can touch a creature and instill a portion of this special healing or all of it at your choice. Creatures who have less than 1 hit point cannot receive healing from you in this way. You cannot use it on yourself, since it is kind of like a morale boost. At 2nd level, you're going to get a resource called Majesty Points. You have unlocked a reservoir of power that only royalty can understand. It is called Majesty. You gain a number of points shown on the princess class table, which of course is very similar to how fighters get their extra die to spend, or the pool of key points, I guess, that monks get, kind of sounding very similar here. You may expend these points for your majestic talents or other class features. You regain all expended majestic points after you complete a long rest. And then, of course, what are these talents? What do they do? You're going to get to choose 2 starting at 2nd level. And, of course, as you progress through the class, you can take on more. So this also is going to transmigrate some abilities around. So if any talents require you to formulate a majestic ability, such as making a melee or ranged attack roll, treat it as if it was a spellcasting ability, referred to as a majestic ability. And then you're going to be able to draw from your wisdom as opposed to your strength per se, which might not be super high. This is going to fix any split scaling issues, I think, that you might run into, and kind of save you from having to really worry about your ability scores being spread too thin to really be effective. But definitely sounding like wisdom is going to be one of our primary focuses here. Additionally, at 2nd level, you're going to gain charismatic armor. Your presence exudes a charismatic aura that is often difficult to strike to most creatures. When not wearing any armor or using a shield, you gain an armor class equal to 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your charisma modifier. Creatures who are immune to being charmed ignore this armor class. Yikes. Creatures who have advantage to resisting the charmed condition have advantage to attack rolls against this armor class. Tricky. Very tricky. As a DM, making sure that your enemy is not immune to being charmed or resistant to that condition is sounding already like a hassle. It's probably something that I would overlook for the most part, just because, again, it seems a little bit too bogged down in the minutia for me. But just be aware of it if you are wanting to build your own princess or take this to another DM, that is at their discretion, according to the original build. Starting at level 3, you get to pick a princess type, which, as we discussed before, one of them is the warrior princess. And just as a quick touchstone, the other ones that they have included here are the classic princess, which I think is going to satisfy folks who are really looking to play with some of those classic, tried and true princess tropes, and kind of play it straight or invert it. But this is going to be what you're looking at if that is your game. In addition to that, we get the fairy tale princess, who is going to lean a little bit more into the magical and fantastical side of things. There is a fun kind of fae element that you can pick up. And this is going to be for our, our Sleeping Beauty types, Cinderellas, Rapunzels, any build that you are really wanting to explore some of these more whimsical fairy tale tropes. I think this is going to be what you want. And I haven't fully read it yet, but I am thinking that you can probably scale it up or down in terms of how dark you want to go. Because I know those fairy tales are not all quite as cleaned up as the Disney versions would like us to believe. So I think that there's going to be some room for you to experiment with that in terms of whether or not you want to keep it kind of more whimsical and lighthearted, or whether or not you want to explore some of those darker themes. And then, of course, as we said before, we have the warrior princess, who is more combat-oriented than the others. She's going to get some very cool martial abilities, and access to these custom princess weapons that we see in popular fiction and fantasy. And definitely, again, strike me personally as being much more in line with your Xena, or your Diana of Themyscira of DC fame, sort of a warrior princess or queen of the Amazons type character. And of course, as fun as that sounds for me personally, it sounds amazing. I think that our character here, for our purposes, is going to lean more towards the fairy tale or the classic subclass. But let's continue to look at our just general princess feats. So way down the line, at 20th level, you're going to get Princess Sublime, which is you have reached the greatest height of being a princess. While you may have already ascended or fallen, this new pinnacle is reflected in your sheer presence. Your wisdom and charisma ability scores improve by 4 to a maximum of 24. So really, I mean, if that is going to be a measure of how many majestic talents you can have, or how effective those talents are, that could be a huge boon at that point. We'd really have to see in terms of the scaling, but in addition, I guess let's take a look at some of the majestic talents, what they are, how powerful they tend to be. We're gonna get 2 right off the bat here, but I'll have to go back to the table and see. We're gonna be building a level 5 character this time. So she is gonna be proficiency bonus 3, inspiring call, the princess type, and 8 majesty points. So we are just gonna have to see at that point. I think we're at 4 majestic talents by 5th level. So we get to play around with a lot of these. And I've read some of these. I love that they're so creative. A lot of them are, like I said, based on these classic fairy tale princess tropes. Our first one here is All Eyes on Me. You can use your action to force all eyes on you by unveiling yourself or doing some dramatic action, such as singing or playing an instrument. All creatures that can see you within 30 feet must make a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you until the beginning of your next turn. While they are charmed, they are incredibly distracted. Attacks against them have advantage, and their attacks against others have disadvantage. The use of this talent costs 1 majesty point per creature that fails their saving throw, and you choose to have it be distracted by you as you focus your majesty on it. I love that. I love that so much. I think I would go ahead and also add the rider that if you fail to charm the target, or once the charm wears off, the target does not know that they were charmed. So normally how the spell Charm Person works is that you can attempt it, but if you fail, or once it wears off, the target will become aware that you cast some form of like harmful magic against them. And, this can sour things if this is an NPC that is going to make a return appearance or something like that. But I think what I would add to this is that the princess is just so charismatic and her performance is so beguiling that, those who witness it can't even tell that they are being charmed. And then that way, if the party does not take any hostile action against them, it's not going to affect the working relationship. So we'll see how that goes. But next up is Animal Companion, which I think is, again, very classic to all of us Disney girlies, who didn't want like a small workforce of tiny, adorable little outfit-wearing mice to do all of our chores, or like a big tiger that would just like eat people that annoy us, but turn into a snuggly kitten when we want to pet them and have fun. Like, come on, that was where it was at. So this one speaks to me directly. You gain an animal companion that you consider your best friend and loyal ally. Choose a beast that is no larger than medium and that has a challenge rating of a 4th or lower. I'm willing to be flexible on that, not gonna lie. Nothing crazy, but, I'll hear you out. Add your proficiency bonus to the beast's AC, attack rolls, and damage rolls, as well as to any saving throws and skills it is proficient in. Its hit point maximum equals its normal maximum, or 4 times your princess level, whichever is higher. So you're picking this creature from kind of the standard rollout, but it's going to get some stat improvements by virtue of being your familiar, I guess, your companion, rather. The beast obeys your commands as best it can. It takes its turn on your initiative, though it doesn't take an action unless you command it to. On your turn, you can verbally command the beast where to move, no action required, or you can use your action and a majesty point to verbally command it to take the attack, dash, disengage, dodge, or help action. And I mean, again, up to your DM, but I definitely think that you can be flexible there. Beck Muffin says, my animal companion is a belligerent raccoon. 2 belligerent raccoons in a trench coat. Yeah. Sounds about right. Although, I guess technically your animal companion at the moment is a particularly fluffy, if not empty-headed Maine Coon. Lives in your house like a little poltergeist. It says, in addition to that, you can make 1 weapon attack yourself when you command the beast to take the attack action. If the beast dies, you can obtain another one by spending 8 hours bonding with another beast that isn't hostile to you, either the same type of beast as before or a different one. So, not that as... Okay, if I'm the DM, I am never going to allow that to happen because I am such a wimp. I cannot handle when the dog dies in the movie or something like that. So that's never happening at my table. But there would be consequences. So we would have an alternative explanation for why your animal companion needs a day off or something. Oh, Beck, when you're listening to that Capybara song, I have no idea where that came from, but it is so damn catchy. Hey, Cosmic Nix, welcome in. You haven't missed much. We are just starting to explore some feats associated with the Princess class, a homebrew reference that I have found in the forums. Yes, Cosmic Nix has just posted doesthedogdie.com. Excellent website for not just if you are sensitive about animals appearing in films or media, but lots of very specific, very detailed trigger warnings for all sorts of movies and TV shows have been posted and curated by the community. It's an extremely valuable source, especially if you are sensitive to anything that could come up and sort of ruin your enjoyment of the media or the film. So great resource. Thank you for posting that for anybody who is not aware. All right. Next up, we have Aura of Protection. You are constantly shrouded by an aura of protection. You are always under the effects of protection from evil and good, which is a spell we can cover the details of, and this gets an improvement at 5th level, which we are, so we would have this improvement. As an action and at the expense of 2 majesty points, you may touch a creature and shroud it in your majesty. It gains the effects of protection from evil and good for 8 hours. So basically, you are picking up a free spell here. I mean, it's not totally free, but without having like a spellcaster ability. And then I have these out of order, so forgive me, but I think... Oh yeah, okay, this is supposed to be in this order. There we go. So I think that's all the like particular talents, but oh no, there's more here. Again, I'm so sorry. These pages are out of order. It's been a long time since I actually like downloaded this reference, so bear with me. So interestingly, in addition to kind of being able to boost morale, there seems to be like a counter to that, sort of like how the Skald is the antithesis of the Bard. We have Destroy Morale. And this only becomes available at 9th level, but you utilize the defeat of a foe to change the tide of battle at the expense of 6 majesty points, and as a reaction to an ally defeating a hostile creature, all other hostile creatures within 30 feet of you and the defeated creature who consider that creature an ally must make a wisdom saving throw or lose half of their current hit points. Half! Rounded down. Oh my god. Creatures who have advantage against charmed conditions may roll saving throw with advantage. Again, I don't know if I would go with that. I would probably waive it, but that's amazing. It's expensive for sure, but just it's like you just demoralize them into taking half of their HP's worth of damage. Amazing. There's one called Do Something. At the expense of 2 majesty points as a bonus action, you may force an ally to take an action by using up their reaction. They may take any action that they would like and can take. For example, a creature who has already cast a spell that takes 1 action cannot cast another spell that takes 1 action. Very funny. It's kind of like a improved command. Exert the self. By reminding yourself of who you are, you may reassert control over yourself. As an action, and at the expense of 1 majesty point, you may end the effects causing you to be charmed or frightened. I love it. At level 5, you gain access to a talent known as Lips of Bliss. You may kiss a creature and have it recover from its ailments as its body reasserts itself after your inspiring attention. It's the healing kiss. I love it. As an action and at the expense of 3 majesty points, you may kiss a target and have them affected as though a lesser restoration spell was cast upon them. And there's an 11th level improvement that bumps that to greater restoration. 10 out of 10, no notes. Majestic healing. The healing pool of your inspiring touch can be restored. As a bonus action, you may convert expended hit points from your healing pool with your majesty points. For every majesty point converted, you regain 5 hit points to your healing pool. So this is very much oriented towards just getting the maximum healing out of a support build here. Yeah, Magic Princess Kisses. We get another one called My Hero. As an action and at the expense of 1 majesty point, you may target an ally as though you casted heroism on them. Except it does not require concentration. The target must be within 60 feet of you, that can see or hear you, and they gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus at the start of each of their turns for the duration of the effect. Oh my goodness. This is essentially, you got this, there's no way you don't got this, but as like a princess ability. So at 5th level, you gain access to Royal Shield. You may thrust forth an exertion of your majestic presence to defy the odds of combat. At the expense of 1 majesty point, and as a reaction to being the target of an attack, you ward yourself as per the Sanctuary spell. Except this effect ends after the attack that caused the reaction is calculated. Royal Bounty. By contacting the officials from your kingdom by messenger, you sacrifice 2 majesty points to place a bounty on the head of a creature of your choice. Oh, very interesting. Very, my father will hear about this. All expenses for this bounty are paid by the coffers of your kingdom. You may only have up to 3 bounties placed at a time, and each bounty costs 2 permanent majesty points. Once the bounty is claimed, you may regain the 2 expended majesty points after a long rest. The bounty can be claimed by reprimanding the creature and bringing them before you, or by slaying the creature. You must decide this once the bounty is placed. Wow, that's incredible. I've never heard of a D&D ability like that, but I think it makes a lot of sense. And it's very cool. Depending on the setting, you might need to work with your DM to make it work, especially if you are a fallen princess or a runaway princess of some sort. But where there's a will, there's a way, and this is very cool. So, Backpack Muffin says, "You got this, there's no way you don't got this." It's one of those things that could be just a camp thing or could be a general meme, and I have no idea which it is. It absolutely is a reference to an unfortunate incident involving one of our beloved staff members and a jump between 2 particular rocks that resulted in that staff member somehow with a severe infection in the emergency room. And just before making the ultimate decision to take that leap from rock to rock, one of our fellow staffers was heard to have uttered the infamous phrase, "You got this, there's no way you don't got this." And it has been enshrined ever since in my mind as like the famous last words right up there with like hold my beer and watch this, that ultimately tend to end in the emergency room eventually. But yeah, encouraging. Finally, last two that are at least given to us here, we have Woodland Majesty. You gain power over creatures and woodland beasts. Oh, very Snow White of them. Your power grows as you level. You have all previous aspects of this talent if you are of a higher level. You have asserted your connection to nature and the benign beasts of the woods. You gain the following spells: Animal Friendship, speak with animals, and you may cast each spell once before you must take a long rest to do so again. Once you have exhausted the casting of these spells, you may expend 1 majesty point to cast them again. Each spell of this majestic talent is cast exactly like the spell's description, except it is not a spell. At 5th level, you may cast Conjure Animals by expending 2 majesty points. And 7th, you can upgrade that to Conjure Woodland Beings. And at 11th, upgrade that one more time to Conjure Fae. McMuffin. I wasn't going to name names, but I did find it rather funny that you couldn't remember. You blocked it. You blocked it out. Cosmic Nick says, best part was the nurse going, I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah. Again, famous last words. I would say no such thing. Just because it's tempting fate. But I very much like this Woodland Majesty, feat. I feel like if you are wanting to dip a little bit into the fairy tale princess, but not go that route as your archetype, like not fully commit, you could pick this up and it would very much go towards getting to satisfy some of that fantasy, fairy tale, Snow White kind of trope. And finally, we have You Know Me. You may create a bond with a number of creatures that is represented by the fact that you can near telepathically tell them what to do simply by your body language. Choose a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier plus half your levels in Princess, rounded down, that you have spent at least 1 week with. Whenever those creatures can see you, they understand basic commands simply by reading your body language. You can tell them things like no, yes, that's bad, I don't like that, or this is a great idea, so on and so forth. You cannot reveal complex information in this way. Other creatures cannot determine your messages in this way, even if they roll an impressive insight skill check. This is cool. It's very, I think, useful for a group that really enjoys roleplay. There's a lot of potential here, I think, for some really interesting scenes that could be kind of constructed using this mechanic. I do see the potential for some issues with how ambiguous it is, though. They have explicitly listed responses like no, yes, bad, I like that, or this is a great idea. But I can definitely foresee running into scenarios in the vast tapestry of, experience that don't fall neatly into something that is either too complex to be expressed in body language in this way or isn't complex enough. So this is definitely one that I think needs to be discussed with the DM ahead of time, so that everybody's expectations are on the same level. For myself personally, I am of a mind that the story and the characters and their development and their relationships are vastly more interesting than adhering strictly to a rule set. Although, working creatively within the parameters of a rule set is fun and intriguing. Doing that at the sacrifice of cool story beats or character moments is not in my style. So I would be willing to let a player take this feat and be very flexible with it. I mean, if they can convince me of what that scene looks like and how their companion is going to know what their meaning is based on that, if it's convincing, I'm willing to accept it, because I certainly have been in situations with my best friends or my people that have known me for years where we can finish each other's sentences or come to the same conclusions even about complex situations just by virtue of our relationship. So I can definitely see this as being a very interesting potential, and I wouldn't want to diminish that potential. But again, just make sure that you talk to your DM first and make sure that this feat is right for you. All right, so wisdom, definitely going to be important. Charisma, also going to be extremely important. So in terms of our race, I think that, of course, human always comes to mind pretty early on, because they are so versatile, and you can spend those ability score improvements however you want. So we could very easily sort of sort them into wisdom and charisma, especially considering nothing immediately comes to mind that necessarily covers both. Now, there is the elves and sort of the wood elf specifically, or the half elf. They get access to wisdom, charisma, and intelligence bonuses. For example, the half elf is going to get that +2 to charisma. The wood elf is going to get that +1 to wisdom, and the high elf to intelligence. Now, halflings are also kind of going to get an option for a charisma improvement. You've got the Lightfoot halfling, for example, which is going to get the +1. So that is also definitely a possibility. Some of those more martial, physical princess feats require some dexterity, so that could be where we kind of get that. But once again, we're going to get that from our kind of elf. I kind of feel like this might be too much of a cliche at this point, but I kind of feel like the high elf, she's nobility, she's a princess. I think that tracks pretty well, and makes some sense. She's like a noble high elf princess. Backpack Muffin says, I truly forgot that was the origin. maybe a race that is prone to putting duty before self. Yeah. I think that high elf also kind of fits the bill there too. Because a lot of them, because of their long lives and sort of commitment to their culture, I definitely think that could be seen, as sort of translating into that. It says that elves can live well over 700 years, giving them a broad perspective on events that might trouble the shorter-lived races more deeply. They are more often amused than excited, and more likely to be curious than greedy. They tend to remain aloof and unfazed, which, could also kind of lend itself to, like, the air of a princess. But when pursuing a goal or learning a new skill, they are focused and relentless. So we are looking at the 2 sub-races that are listed in the player's handbook, which, well, I suppose we have 3 technically. The High Elf, the Wood Elf, and of course the Drow or the Dark Elf, which I didn't even think of, not gonna lie, but that also comes with a charisma score improvement. So Drow is definitely on the table. Now, I personally have some issues with the way the Drow are treated in lore, official like D&D lore. So I never pay attention to any of that, and totally let my players come up with their own, canon as to why what makes a dark elf gother than the other elves. But that's not going to affect our choices here. Cosmic Nick says, like the Quanon, if you have played Dragon Age. I have played a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't remember the words for things, but I do remember what you're talking about. There are like the 2 sort of classes of elves. Sort of similar to how there are like the high elves in D&D. There are these like elevated status for certain elves in Dragon Age. I was going to go onto a tangent about romance options in Dragon Age, but instead I think I'm just going to recommend, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there is a movie, like a little short animated movie that they made about Cassandra and her backstory before the events of the game begin. There's a little tongue-in-cheek reference to it in the game about how she like slayed a dragon, but this movie covers it, and it is badass. It is so awesome. I just put it on, not really expecting much, and I was just blown away. It was so good. And the outro credit song that they wrote for it is a banger. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Add to any playlist to this day. Oh, that's right. Okay, and with the elves, there's the Dalish and the City Elves. That's right. I think that for us, it's definitely, a choice between wisdom, which is going to give us more of these majesty points to play with, because they scale, or rather, it's based on your level, so that's actually not true, but the talents themselves, a lot of them rely on wisdom and charisma. So your spellcasting ability basically is wisdom for your magistic talents. So, honestly, these are all good choices. I'm willing to kind of go with any of them. So for your basic elf trait, you're going to get the bonus 2 to dexterity. So we're basically stuck between choosing what we want our other improvement to be. Do we want it to be intelligence? Do we want it to be wisdom? Or do we want it to be charisma. Beck McLeod says, I think wisdom makes sense since the character chose to walk away from a marriage that wasn't serving her. Ah, absolutely. A wise decision indeed. I tend to agree. I especially think that works with regard to, how, like you said, she decided, she came to a crossroads in her life when she had to make a decision about whether or not she was going to carry on as she always had by doing her duty and complying with the expectations of others, or whether or not she was going to steal some of her self back from the service of others and take it for herself. And I think it does take a lot of wisdom to look at your life and look at your decision-making parameters that you've been using up to a certain point and decide for the first time ever to go against that or to change, how you approach a problem. And I think it does get easier the more wisdom you have as well. You have more experience. Okay, so we're gonna go Wood Elf then. So let's hop over to our character sheet. And start updating that. So this is gonna be Elf, and our sub-race is going to be Wood Elf. And so that is going to be a +2 to Dex and a +1 to Wisdom. So let me write that down for us. +2 Dex, +1 Wisdom. And of course, we're gonna get Dark Vision, Keen Senses, Fey Ancestry. This all just comes box standard with your being an elf. You don't need to sleep. You can just enter a meditative trance. And then specifically for Wood Elves, you are gonna get elf weapon training, so your proficiency with longsword, short sword, and short bow and longbow. Not necessarily going to affect us because we potentially would pick up princess weapons instead. So I'm going to consider swapping that out with one of the other ones. We're also going to get fleet foot. Your base walking speed increases to 35. Oh, nice. Okay, so let's put that in. 35 feet. A little bit faster than everybody else. And Mask of the Wild. You can attempt to hide even when you are only lightly obscured by foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other natural phenomena. Interesting. You can blend into your environment as long as it is in nature. I don't know. This is starting to sound like it might lend itself really well to a fairy tale princess type. So I am just going to make note of that one. So that is Mask of the Wild. Sorry, it's back to typos for me. Key was my little typist for the day, but sadly she is napping again. So this is going to be a racial feat. And of course, it is coming from the elf class and the wood elf subclass or sub-race. What else? Oh, and I'll fill in the details afterwards, just to expedite things a little bit. So I said replace elf weapon training, because I don't really think that's going to serve us, because we are going to go with our princess ones. Drow get a superior dark vision that is got a 120-foot radius. They also get Dancing Lights cantrip and Fairy Fire, which, if we want to go sort of a little bit more magical, that could be very appealing. High elves get long sword, short bow, and long bow. Once again, not super interested. But they are going to get the cantrip from the wizard spell list. Interesting. Okay. So basically it comes down to whether or not we want to specify Dancing Lights or leave ourselves some flexibility to pick any of the cantrips. I'm going to say... flexibility. Let's go with customization. So this one is very straightforward, just called cantrip. And it is a racial ability, of course. We just read it off of there. Oh, I guess that happened. And it is, of course, coming from the elf race type. Technically, it's from the high elf sub race, but we're not gonna stress ourselves overly about that. One cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list. You know, they're cantrips. They're not that powerful, so I'm just gonna say from any spell list. Remember, kids, check with your DM before homebrewing up a storm like this. Okay, so that is going to do it for the racial feats, and that's kind of what I needed this for. So now let's take a look at our ability scores. Now that we kind of have an idea of what our class needs are going to be, and we know where we're going to get to spend our racial bonuses. So once again, I am thinking the standard array. It is just, for me personally, the easiest and fastest way to go about this. Let's see. Will you shrink? Yes. Okay. Excellent. There we go. Okay. So, for those of you who don't remember, the standard array is a set of ability scores that you can assign to your abilities in order of priority based on whatever your build is. So those scores are 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. And the higher the score, the greater your bonus is going to be. And all of this can be found in the very, very beginning of the player's handbook, of course. So I think that, obviously, we've said it a few times now, we're definitely going to want to prioritize wisdom and charisma. We are going to get that nice bonus to our wisdom from our race, but at the same time, I think it's still important to prioritize it in terms of our score. So I'm leaning towards letting wisdom take the 15 and then that would bump it up to 16, which would push it into the +3 range. And my only other thought there would be, like, my only other sort of option, as far as I'm thinking, would be charisma. We would maybe assign charisma as 15, and it would get the +2, but then on our first stability score improvement on level, we would be able to really quickly bump that up to the next bonus. And then if we have our next score of 15, because of the +1 to wisdom, once again, we're super close. Our next ability improvement, put 1 point in, and both of them are up to +3. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So this is going to be 15, because 14 + 1, and then charisma is also going to be 15, because we're not going to have any like natural improvements to it. So that's our 15 and our 14. Our 13, so 13 normally is a +1. If we put it into Dex, where we're getting a bonus 2, that would put us to 14, 15. That would bring us to a +2. I don't think that's going to be like the best potential use of our abilities here. So I'm thinking either intelligence, so that our princess can make a lot of knowledge checks. Or dexterity, because like I said, that is also going to be pretty useful. I'm going to say intelligence. I think that is where we're headed with this build. So 13 intelligence, and then 12. If we put 12 as our dexterity, we get the +2, bumping us to 14 and a +2. So we are gonna go 14 here, Dex, and then next we get 10 and 8. And 10 is going to be no bonus, it's a 0, and 8 is actually going to be a negative. I hate to do it like this, but I honestly think that negative for strength is what we're going to have to go with here. And again, it makes sense for the build, it makes sense for the character, and we're kind of not leaning into like the warrior princess aspect. So we're going to go 8 on strength. Now, if you wanted to build more of a generalist, and if you are looking at that -1 and is making you very uncomfortable or nervous, another strategy might be to kind of do a reverse of what I did and put your higher scores into the things that would be your weakness, so that you're making sure that they are staying positive, and then relying on your racial bonuses to get you some extra points in the areas where you really need it. But I really don't think that we're going to sacrifice much by taking this penalty in strength. I don't anticipate this particular build really needing to make many strength checks. And there's lots of ways to get around that too, using the utilities we have. So I think it's all good. Alright, so that is our ability scores up to that point. And now we work our way through our level progression. So we are going to be starting off at level 5 with this character. So we are going to start kind of at level 1 and work our way through, building up from there. So she is going to get 1d6 hit dice per level. Let's see. Okay. It's gonna be 1d6 in this spot, and 5 of them. And then we're gonna calculate her hit points. So at first level, she's gonna get 6 plus Constitution modifier, of course, which in our case is 0. Oof. It's okay though. So every level above that, she's gonna get 1d6 plus Constitution modifier per princess level after first. So at second level, it's gonna be about 4. At third level, it's also gonna be 4. Fourth level, she's going to get an ability score improvement. So we basically have to decide whether or not we want to put those ability scores into Constitution, and if that would change our bonus or not. So let's take a look. That is at a much higher level. So here's the call. Archetype. These are so cool. Okay. I'm not seeing it, but that's okay. So basically we have to decide where we want to spend 2 ability points. And whether or not we want them to be in Constitution. I was kind of thinking about putting them in Wisdom and Charisma again. So that would leave us... Yeah, because all that's going to do is get us like 2 extra HP, which I'm fine with sacrificing. So it's going to be another 4 and 4 at 5th level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. It's very low. 4 times 4, 16, 20, 2. Oh boy, that is very low. Makes me nervous, but her girl's not really built to take hits, so that was a kind of a given from the outset. Okay. So that is our HP. Now our proficiencies. one simple weapon of your choice. We'll revisit that. 2 instruments of your choice. I think that makes sense. Let's go down here. I can never remember the difference between these 2 boxes. You know, I'm willing to let this be more flexible. Like, I don't necessarily think it's important to lock one in right now. I'll just write that down. So that is 1 simple weapon and 2 instruments. You guys are gonna laugh at me, but I just realized that the pages are numbered. So all of this time, me wondering what order the pages should be in was just because I'm silly and don't know how to read, I guess. Okay, you know what? I was close. 3, 4. Nope, that's the 7th page. 5, here we go. This is gonna make things easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one is gonna be, 6, okay. 6, 7, 8, okay. All right, I've done it. I've connected it. That should help a lot. So try to do this. Okay. So we're gonna get 1 simple weapon, 2 instruments. Makes sense. A lot of our skills are requiring that. Saving throws and wisdom and charisma. Makes sense. Those off. Favorite weapon says we can have a little constitution as a treat. Paying attention is for neurotypicals. Okay, yeah, true. Wisdom and charisma are our saving throws. And we can choose acrobatics, animal handling, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, nature. Oh man, we have a lot to choose from. Okay, rather than just list all of those off, let's make some choices. I immediately want insight. I think that is something important for all princesses. And then for the second one, persuasion would also be an extremely effective one. Perception, very useful. Performance could also be very useful. Animal handling, if you want to try to pick up on that Snow White vibe without necessarily getting that talent, you could just pick up the skill in animal handling and take your chances with the dice. I am torn between persuasion and perception. Both extremely useful. let's see. Perception is a wisdom. Persuasion is charisma. So we gave her 1 wisdom with insight already. So let's go with persuasion for our second skill. Proficiency. We get to choose 3, so we get 1 more. Okay, so I know I just said it, but perception, or now I'm also kind of wanting acrobatics, just because I think it would be funny. No, we're gonna go perception. We are a perceptive queen. Princess. Oh, and then this gets 1 improvement, so this is gonna go to 16. And this is gonna go to 16. Which is important. All right. Looking sharp, looking good. And I'm gonna hop over here to our features. And like I said, there are some that just come with the princess class and don't necessarily rely on whatever the subclass is. So right off the bat, we are going to get a few of those. Very similar, in my opinion, to like a paladin, and how they can create these auras. So inspiring call, even though it works mechanically a lot more like bardic inspiration. The gist of it, just like the idea of like being in your presence, sort of reminds me of that paladin spell. Okay, so the source is from your class. And that is princess. I love it. It's gonna amuse me forever. So that is inspiring call. You're also going to get inspiring touch. Which is also a class ability. And from the princess class. And like I said, I will copy all of these details in later, and then this entire sheet is going to be exported as a PDF, which I will post in the character crafting text channel on the Discord, where you are welcome to take a look and take a copy for yourself. I'll pin it to the conversation, so you can just look at the pinned comments and you'll see all of the characters that I've built for the channel so far. Not that many yet, but slowly but surely. And that way, if you are wanting to use one of these pre-made characters to play with, all of that information will be there for you. So worry not. We are just kind of streamlining it for the time being. So next up is the Majesty points. kind of like how monks, like, key points are based on level. The majesty points also increase by level. So there's a table at the beginning of the material, and at 5th level, it doesn't tell me on the table, but I have to... Okay, no. So it looks like we get 4 talents at this stage, and 8 majesty points to play with. Okay. I am just going to put level 5, you get 8 points. And we're gonna set that one up. And majestic talents, there we go. So we are gonna pick 4. We'll circle back. First we need charismatic armor. What's that? And that is basically like a bard armor, like mage armor. I'm so glad. I just figured I was going to be doing this anyway to get ready for Wednesday, and I just thought it could be a little bit extra fun for people who just wanted some background noise, or somebody who's also kind of doing some mental tasks to sort of body double with, even if it is remotely. So now it is time to pick our type and talents. And since we already went through the talents, let's take a little bit deeper dive into the types. This is like a subclass. So kind of like how bards have different colleges that give you different sort of more specific flavors of bard. These are going to give us more specific archetypes for our princess. And the first one, of course, is the classical princess. The source material reads, "The classical princess is beautiful, demure, and graceful. She embodies the concept of a damsel in distress, usually, or in the very least, she is reliant upon others to defend her and destroy her enemies. These princesses are the most likely to be evil, selfish, or greedy, although that is only because of the variety of this path. The defining feature of a classical princess is their more enriched development of their majestic talents and their cohorts." Which is to say that at 3rd level, the classical princess receives 2 cohorts that follow you around, obeying you faithfully. You have 1 guardian and 1 handmaiden. Both cohorts are of your race, but lack any exceptionalities of your race to grant them racial traits. Guardians may be of either gender, but handmaidens must be female. What even is gender? I'm not married to that. You add your charisma modifier to their attacks, damage rolls, and saving throws, so long as you are within 120 feet of your cohorts, and they are aware of your presence. If your cohort ever dies, another takes its place within 1 month's time, so long as you properly inform your kingdom. Interesting. Cohorts take their turn on your initiative, though they don't take any action unless you command them. So this is similar to the Beast Companion. On your turn, you can verbally command them where to move, which is not an action, and you can use your action, a majesty point, or when you target them with an inspiring call die, to verbally command them to take the attack, dash, disengage, dodge, help, so on and so forth. And once you have the extra attack feature, if you ever do, you can make one weapon attack yourself when you command them to take the attack action. At 6th level, whenever your guardian takes the attack action, they can make 2 attacks instead of just 1. Very cool. And it also provides a stat block for the guardian and the handmaiden, and I suppose you could sort of retool this or flavor this however you see fit for your particular princess. In terms of... Oh! Seer! Welcome in, Seer! Thanks for the raid! Welcome in, raiders! We are in the middle of a character creation, very chill, relaxed atmosphere, just talking about some options and kind of geeking out about what they remind us of. So happy to have you. You are welcome to hang out and just kind of listen in. Or if you know a thing or two about D&D 5e, you are welcome to weigh in. I mean, you're welcome to weigh in even if you don't. Yeah, I'm so glad you came. How are you, Seer? I know I was in your stream a little bit earlier, and you were up to some arc shenanigans. Did you give yourself a shout out? Also, could you, if you don't mind, would you shout yourself out just so that everybody can get the link to your wonderful, wonderful channel? You were killed by bees. Not the bees. Yay. Okay, so there's the link to Seer's channel. Seer is amazing. I'm hoping to have her one day, kind of like how we had Key on a character creation night. But she's also an amazing mod, and has been on board on Project Library as a librarian since day 1. So super appreciate her, and super grateful that she decided to bring her lovely community over here and come hang out with us and say hi. Yeah, like I said, even if you don't know anything about D&D, you're welcome to weigh in. And yeah, you probably have listened to enough Adventure Zone at this point. Oh man, speaking of the Adventure Zone, the 11th Hour graphic novel dropped like a week or 2 ago, and I had forgotten that I pre-ordered it. So that was a nice little surprise, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I'm gonna savor this. You know, I'm gonna read this so slowly and just enjoy it. And then I just binged the whole thing in one sitting for several hours because I have no self-control. But it was so good. They made some changes that I felt like made sense, considering they're going from a live play podcast format to a graphic novel. But it's so pretty. The art is so good. And it hits you right in the feels, just like it did listening to it. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay. So with that excitement, just to give our readers an idea of kind of where we're at in the process, we have been working on a homebrew class called The Princess, and she is based on some typical tropes from fantasy and fiction surrounding the princess archetype. And we've been having some fun, talking about our favorite princesses in media, and seeing how various aspects of their character are represented in this class. So we picked wood elf specifically for our race to get some charisma bonuses, or to get rather some wisdom bonuses there. And now we are looking at subclasses, which kind of like how bards have bardic colleges, which kind of give you a more specific picture of a type of bard. We are going to be looking at some more specific princess archetypes for our build, and they are the kind of classic princess, who I kind of associate with like Princess Peach in Mario. She delegates usually, except for in Brawl when it's time to get in the ring. She's always trapped in another castle. I think this is also very much our Princess Zelda, not necessarily Sheik, but Zelda herself. And then we have the fairy tale princess sub archetype. So that one is, I think, kind of leaning more into your like Rapunzel, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. There's going to be like more of a fae tie-in, more magic tie-in. And then finally, not for this character in particular, but I am extremely excited to talk about the third archetype, which is the warrior princess, who very much gives Xena or like Diana of Themyscira energy in terms of like this more Amazonian oriented princess who has got some pretty interesting melee abilities. So with that said, we're gonna turn our attention kind of back to finishing looking at this classical princess. We already talked about how at 3rd level she is going to get cohorts, which are basically servants that are following her around. One of them is the guardian or bodyguard, and the other is the quote-unquote handmaiden. Our guardian is going to get something called Princess Synergy. Whenever a guardian finishes a long rest in the presence of the princess they serve, they gain temporary hit points equal to the princess's charisma times her level. And in terms of combat, they are going to get a long sword, pretty standard. The handmaiden is going to get, in terms of like combat, a dagger. Not particularly robust, but certainly could get the job done. And those are going to come with their own stat sheets, which are listed in the source material, which if you're just joining us from Seer's community as a raider and you're not already aware, there is a link in my bio for the Discord, where I am posting a lot of the links to these resources. This character that we're building, once she's done, is going to be posted in the text channels there. And there's also a lot of other fun things to do and resources available. So, oh, thank you, Zier. So if you're curious and want to learn more, please feel free to head over there and take a look at some of the stuff we got going on. At 5th level, the classic archetype is going to get an additional majestic talent. Very useful. Those are very versatile. You're also going to gain 2 additional talents. Additionally, you gain an extra majesty points equal to your charisma modifier. So really, like, this is the princessiest princess that ever princessed. Like, you are just that good at what you do. At 7th level, you're going to get inspirational presence. Your inspiring words and healing can now go hand in hand. Whenever you use your inspiring call feature, you may then use your inspiring touch as a bonus action on the same creature in your turn. If you do so, you do not need to touch them. Additionally, as an action, you may regain your spent healing pool from your inspiring touch ability as you focus on the task at hand. You regain half your maximum pool of hit points from your inspiring touch ability. Interesting, because you normally can't use that on yourself, it says in the description. Once you do so, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. Makes sense. They're trying not to be too OP about it. And then the other 2 are, further out in the progression. You also get a feat at 14th level called Sublime Majesty, where you can regain majesty points, basically. And then Supreme Guardian at 17th level, where you get an upgrade to the Guardian, part of your cohort. They can take an action as a bonus action, and you can spend some of your majesty points to give them yet another action. I kind of think that as the princess levels, it would make sense for these cohorts to also get improvements. Inspiring touch ability. I think it would make sense for the cohorts to get improvements. So if I were to take this class, or if I were DMing and somebody were to take this class, I think we would discuss that, like, as maybe at certain thresholds that the cohorts would get improvements. I think right now they're kind of they're middling, they're okay. They're pretty average as far as your NPCs go. But as you level up, it's going to make them less and less relevant if they are not also improving. So I think I would add some sort of progression. Next up is the Fairy Tale Princess, which I think is another contender for what I, could also go pretty well with what I had in mind for this character. So this reads, the Fairy Tale Princesses are the ones with a magical past. Consider how you gained your magical properties. Were you blessed by 3 fairies when you were first born during your name day celebration? Are you simply a princess of a wooden realm, imbued by divine magic to protect it? Regardless, your magical nature shifts some of your princess features towards that of truly magnificent feats. And so right off the bat, this comes with Fairy Tale Woe. With the gift of your fairy tale powers comes the price of envious enemies. The origin of how you received your fairy tale woe is up to you, but you must choose one of the following woes that were inflicted upon you. The first one is Cursed. You are under one of the effects of the Bestow Curse spell, except its effect is permanent and cannot be removed except by a wish spell, classic, or by the death of the creature who cursed you. Interesting. So this is going to require some DM participation, as it were, as you agree upon perhaps who it was that laid this curse in the first place. as they might potentially be a part of the story. For those of you unfamiliar, the Bestow Curse spell is a 3rd level necromancy spell that comes with a couple different flavors or options. You can choose one ability score, and while cursed, the target has disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws made with that ability score. Yikes. While cursed, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. While cursed, the target must make a wisdom saving throw at the start of each of its turns. If it fails, it wastes its action that turn doing nothing. And finally, while the target is cursed, your attacks and spells deal an extra 1d8 necrotic damage to the target. Interesting. So, if you take the cursed option for your Fairy Tale Woe, you are going to have one of those conditions constantly in effect as a permanent sort of debuff. This next one goes out to all of my sleepy girlies. This one is called Forever Sleepy. You are subject to sleep spells and effects, even if you have immunities from other features or abilities. Whenever you are the target of a sleep spell, count yourself as having half your current hit points, which makes you doubly vulnerable. Additionally, choose one creature. That creature is your soulmate or savior. Whenever you are the subject of a magical sleep, you fall asleep permanently and may not awaken until your soulmate or savior kisses you on the forehead or lips. Should your soulmate or savior die, you awaken by the next creature that kisses you on the forehead or lips. Unbelievable. I think that's fantastic. Oh man, you could double down on magical kisses. Sounds accurate. You are permanently under the effects of a sleep spell or effect. You cannot be so again in a permanent way for 1 year after you are awakened. You are still vulnerable to the effects, however, and have reduced hit points. Extremely hilarious. I love it. No notes. This one is feeling very Ella Enchanted for my middle school book fair girlies. It's called Honesty. You are magically compelled to always tell the truth when you are asked a question. This truth is relative to your own understanding of truth and reality, but you cannot willfully lie or be dishonest. Very funny. And finally, we have Midnight Form. Ooh, is this about to be some Fiona from of Shrek fame? Is that what's about to happen? Midnight Form says, at dusk, so long as you are within 1 mile of being able to see the night sky, you transform into one of the following creatures from the Monster Manual. A female orc, oh yeah, a frog, or a swan. Oh my god, this is incredible. You lose all your class features and capabilities and act only with the stats provided of your chosen form. When dawn comes, you revert to your normal form and you act as though you had a long rest, whether you rested or not. This woe is dependent upon some factor, creed, doctrine, or curse, usually of the poetic type. Discuss this with your DM to see if you may ever break the curse, or how you must follow some doctrine to avoid the midnight form, should you wish to. I love it. I love the midnight form. Hilarious. As the DM, I think I would allow other forms so long as they are thematic, and bonus points if they are a reference to folklore. So if you wanted to take like a seal form and be like a Selkie princess, or if you wanted to take a crane form, kind of like a reference to the Crane Wife, I think that would be very doable and very in line with some of the animals and creatures listed here. Cosmic Nick says they tick 3 boxes with that one. Princess and the Frog and the Swan Princess. Absolutely. The Barbie one specifically, of course. So that's a major debuff though. What are we gonna get in exchange to make this subclass worth taking with such a high penalty? Like that's it's pretty steep. So at 3rd level, you're going to get Body of Magic and Grace. At 3rd level, the magical energies imbued upon you during your fairy tale origin comes forth. Choose one of the following abilities, and you are going to get another at 7th level, then again at 11th and 14th and 17th. So, another list. Buckle up, hang in there. The first one is called Blinding Beauty. Your beauty is so becoming that if you exert your presence fully, you may blind creatures. As part of unveiling your face and part of your figure, and as an action, so long as at least your face is exposed, all creatures within a 30-foot, within 30 foot of you must make a wisdom saving throw equal to 8 plus your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus, or be blinded permanently. That's permanently, folks. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. That is an AoE permanent blinding feat. Incredible, especially considering a lot of spells require line of sight to be cast. So if you've got an enemy spellcaster or a group of them and they're lobbing evocation magic at you that requires line of sight, you could bust this out and take out their offensive capabilities immediately. I like this because our princess specifically was supposed to be known as being the most beautiful woman in the kingdom. She was so beautiful that the king just had to have her. And it didn't matter that they didn't get along and he didn't really care about her personality. It just, he was blinded by her beauty. So I think this could be very fitting. But we'll see. Eyes as the Ocean is the next one. Your eyes are that of a soft blue, so soft it looks like the rolling waves of a distant ocean. As an action, you may look at a creature, flashing those stunning eyes, and they must make a wisdom saving throw, DC equal to 8 plus your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. If they fail the saving throw, they are charmed by you for 1 minute and can take no actions or move. An affected creature may re-roll their save at the end of each of their turns for the duration. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a short or long rest. Look into my eyes. I kind of thought that was going to be more of a Little Mermaid reference. And now that I think about it, I think they sort of missed an opportunity to have some sort of silence curse. That could have been very interesting, but our next one is called Hair of Gold. Your hair turns into a shimmering, beautiful blonde as it is interwoven with speckles of golden flakes. Your hair grows at an exponential rate. Once per week, you may cut a piece of your hair without affecting its length. That is equal to 500 GP after you choose this feature. Your hair also radiates magical energies that is desired by many. Each week your hair is not cut, you continue to grow that amount in golden hair. Thus, after 4 weeks, cutting all your hair to shorter length is worth 2,000 GP. After 1 month of not cutting your hair is down to your feet and stops growing, but it acts as though you are wearing a shield you are proficient in. You gain a +2 armor class that stacks with your charismatic armor feature. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so this could be a good way to be a rogue princess or a fallen princess, you know, who doesn't necessarily have the backing of her kingdom, and still be not hurting for money, honey. Like, that is passive income, babes. We love to see it. #girlboss. I do also love that if you let it grow out, it turns into an armor class bonus. I wonder if that is a reference to the Disney Rapunzel, where her hair has like healing abilities. In fact, I'm willing to say that if you wanted to retool this, like let's say you didn't want to be a rogue princess and you wanted to be like having the support of your kingdom, so that the gold doesn't really appeal or doesn't really come in that handy. I think that I might be willing to replace that with maybe some sort of healing ability, you know, or maybe even some sort of like built-in lasso or even a grappling hook ability, you know, Rapunzel, let down your hair and all that. Like, so we'll see. 2 more, hang in there. We have Lips of Rose Red, which states your lips are constantly a deep rose red. This coloring cannot blemish or smear. As an action, you may kiss any creature who then acts as though you casted haste on them, which lasts for 1 minute and does not require your concentration. You can use this ability once before you must take a long rest to do so again. Oh my god, I love that. Honestly, I'd be willing to say haste or improvability. You know, that might not be what it's like. Enhance ability, that's it. Where you get, you know, Eagle's Splendor and Bull's Strength and Owl's Wisdom. I think that could also be a very funny, like, you're basically just delivering a buff via kiss, which very on brand so far. You could have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 magical kiss effects in your princess build, potentially. And finally, you get Voice of the Goddess. When you sing, your voice is something that even the gods would be envious of. Once, whenever you use your inspiring call die, you may change the die to a D12 so long as you sing. When you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish for a long rest. So basically an improvement or an enhancement on the inspiring call, which is a buff, or a call for aid. At level 5, you get Project Magic. Your majestic presence can now do more for your allies with spellcasting abilities. As a bonus action, you may help a creature you can see and that can see you within 60 feet that has spellcasting slots recover expended spell slots. You can help them recover no spell slot higher than 5th level. See the table below. So, it's basically how many points it's going to cost you per spell slot. So for a maximum of 9 points, you can restore a 5th level spell slot. Basically making you a wizard's best friend. Because Lord knows that they are constantly playing that resource management game of trying to conserve spell slots during an adventure when they're not going to be able to take a rest. So And that finally brings us to the Warrior Princess. And I'm pretty sure we're not going to go this route, but because it is so cool, I want to talk about it. So, the Warrior Princess is one of valor, of duty, and combat prowess. She is not the damsel in distress. She is the dame who puts others in distress. Often the figurehead of battle or armies, the Warrior Princess and her rallying call is both inspiring and fortifying. Wielding her signature weapon, almost all warrior princesses are sights to behold. At 3rd level, you gain bonus proficiencies. You gain proficiency in light and medium armor and 4 simple martial weapons. Additionally, you're proficient in 1 weapon from the Warrior Princess's signature weapon chart, and that is what I'm excited to get to. At 3rd level, you also get War Cry. You can turn your inspiring call into a war cry. As a bonus action, you may emit a signature war cry as a use of your inspiring call. I wonder who this could be based off of. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm severely tempted. All my Xena girlies, you know what I'm talking about. When you do so, roll 1d4 regardless of your inspiring call die size. You must then use your action to attack an enemy, with the result as a bonus to your attack. If your strike succeeds, all allies within 60 feet that can see you hit your opponent have a bonus on their next attack roll equal to the result of the d4. You may not apply this bonus to more allies than you have levels in Princess class. So, as soon as you pick it up, you can immediately trigger this on 4 allies. I'm a little sad that it doesn't scale. I kind of wish that you could opt to do 2d4 or even 3d4 at higher advancements, so that would be something that I might add, but otherwise very cool. At 5th level, you get extra attack. You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action. It's a, fighter feat. Makes sense. At 7th level, you get Uncanny Grace. You have learned to use your majestic presence in the heat of battle. You may expend 1 majesty point to take the dash, disengage, or dodge actions as a bonus action, which, if you remember, we already have a bonus 5 feet of movement from our race. So if we are getting the dash action for free, that's 10 extra feet of movement. There is a lot of utility there. At 11th level, you're going to get Majestic Strike. You now inspire yourself with one of your Majestic Strikes. Whenever you hit a target creature, you may expend 2 Majesty points to deal an additional 2d6 damage. And this one does scale up, so you can, as your point pool increases, you can spend more points to up the damage by 1d6 to a total of 5d6. At level 14, you get Legendary Acrobatics. You may inspire yourself to new feats of acrobatics. As a bonus action, at the expense of 4 Majesty points, you enter into a state of exceptional combat prowess. Your movement speed is increased by 10. Okay, so that's potentially 20 extra feet of movement on top of the 10 we get from our race. You may now take a second extra attack whenever you take the attack action on your turn, for a total of 3 attacks per turn. And you have advantage to dexterity saving throws and dexterity skill checks. So acrobatics checks, essentially. This lasts for 1 minute or until you dismiss it. When the state is over, you must expend another 4 Majesty points, or you gain 1 level of exhaustion. This is also typical of the haste spell, so that makes sense. And finally, at 17th level, Unrelenting. Your own will and presence becomes so self-inspiring that you can withstand continuous combat. Whenever your hit points are above half of your maximum hit points, You may, as a bonus action and at the expense of a majesty point, use the healing pool of your inspiring touch to reinvigorate your morale and heal yourself, which, as we said before, usually those pools do not apply to you. So the warrior princess gets to heal herself at 17th level, where the fairy tale princess, or rather the classic princess, is going to get that much earlier on. And then finally, let's talk a little bit about some custom princess weapons. First up is the bola. I hope I'm saying that right. A large or smaller creature hit by the bola is restrained until it is freed. A creature that is formless is unaffected, and a creature can use its action to make a DC strength check to free itself. That's going to be 1d4 bludgeoning damage with a range of 20 feet. The chakram is a special weapon that, if thrown correctly, can return to its thrower. They look like discs. Whenever you throw the chakram, roll a dexterity ability check equal to 10 plus every 10 feet of distance. You must be able to hit a creature or ricochet the chakram from some hard object in order to have it returned to you. If you succeed on the DC, you may expend your reaction on your turn to catch it at the beginning of your turn, so long as you have a free hand. Amazing. 10 out of 10, no notes. War fan, interesting. Oh, and just so you know, the chakram is 1d6 slashing damage and has a range of 15 feet. War fan, as a bonus action, you can roll a contest deception, which would be charisma, against the target's insight. If you succeed, you have advantage on your next attack with the war fan within 1 round. Interesting. So I guess the idea is that it's like a hidden weapon. They don't see it coming. Future attempts at using this special property on the same target gives the target creature advantage on their insight check, of course, because if you use it, you show that it is in fact a weapon. They would have to be pretty dense to miss that. The war fan is 1d6 slashing and is a finesse. There's one last weapon listed as 1d6 slashing, but I don't know what it is, and it's not listed on the page. So I promise I'm looking at the pages in order, and it's just not here. So this could be like an error. Remember that this isn't like an official publication, but either way, if you want to just get creative, or if you know what a scourge weapon is, feel free to sound off in the comments or post it in the Discord. I'd love to see it. And so yeah, those are our archetypes, our 3 sub-types. Now, like I said, as cool as the warrior princess is, I do think that we are leaning more towards classic or fairy tale for our heroine. Now, the fairy tale comes with some fun, very cool. I mean, I love the curse. I love the magic and grace. I think it's all very funny. The only thing that I am not sure if it's really going to pay off for us is the project magic. The way that I have formatted this channel is that you could end up with a different party week to week, and so there might not be any other casters or spell classes in the party with this character, and I want to make it so that it's as flexible, as versatile as possible, so that there's not really going to be any downside to picking this character given any party comp. So I think what I would do here to try and fix this is we'll keep project magic as it is, but we'll add an additional recovery option so that maybe, because almost every class has a feature that can only be used like once per long rest or a certain number of times per long rest, or has a resource pool. So I think what it kind of makes sense to do here would be to say that you can recover a spell slot if you're a caster class, or if you're a non-spellcasting class, you can recover one of your class features that normally would reset after a long rest. So for example, monks can recover a key point, or fighters, if they are the battle master, can recover a superiority die, or maybe clerics can get a channel divinity back. Like I think that's pretty comparable, and we'll keep the prices as it is. Depending on kind of how powerful the effect is. That's how I would fix that. Now, I hadn't initially intended for this character to be quite so fairy tale themed. I just love it so much that I really feel like it would be fun. But it is a little bit more complicated than the very straightforward kind of classic princess. I just think that the cohorts mechanic is kind of weak. I really don't love it. I would probably replace it potentially with one of the other two. That's like a big component of the classical princess, is the cohorts. How am I gonna fix this? Body of Magic and Grace at 3rd level. You can choose one of the following, and you choose another at 7th, 11th, 14th, 17th. So what if I just, instead of doing that, progression. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna replace cohorts with a body of magic and a curse, basically. And then normally body of magic would just improve at 7th level. You would get another one. But we're not going to do that. We're going to just pick one, and then at 7th level, rather than getting an additional one like you would normally get if you went the fairy tale route, we will instead switch back over to the classic princess build and go along that track. So at 5th level you get classic majesty, 7th level inspirational presence, so on and so forth. I think that that's going to be the best fix for this. It's going to be the marriage of the two, best of both worlds. Have your cake and eat it too. Why not? Happy Purim, everyone, by the way. Not that you would have cake, but have your hamantash and eat it too. Speaking of which, in case you are not in the Discord and you don't know, this Wednesday at 6:30, we're going to be having another stream. We're going to be returning to our live play format, and this week's story is going to be themed on the tale of the origin of Purim. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm extremely excited. And I think it's going to be a good time. So even if you don't know anything about Purim or the lore surrounding it, I'm going to explain everything to do with it. No worries. And we're going to have a good time. So definitely check that out. And you know what? If you can't make it, that's okay too. as with my other live play video, there will be fun little interactive points for people watching the playback to still play along. So definitely check that out if you're interested. What should we call this princess type? Because we're doing custom classes again. Let's say we'll just say classic magic princess. Okay. So like I said, she's going to be kind of a combination of the two that we were talking about. So the very first, if we're going in order of levels, the third level, she would get cohorts. Normally, we're not going to do that. We're going to say that she's going to get one of these curses. I really like the Forever Sleepy curse. You know, if the player is uncomfortable with the kissing mechanic, I would be willing to just, you know, say it's like a magic fist bump or whatever. You know, let everybody play to their level of comfortability, but like, I think the Forever Sleepy one is very funny, and referential. But I also love Midnight Form. I do. I cannot help it. Duck McMuffin says if I give her the sleepy curse, she's gonna have to pick her. You are more than welcome to do so. Oh boy. Okay, so let me, while I think about this, let me start typing it up. So it is Fairy Tale Woe. Funny. I almost spelled whoa, like whoa. Fairy Tale Whoa. Would have been funny. Alright. Class dependent. And this is coming from the princess. The princess, and of course of the fairy tale subcategory. Okay. I think we are gonna go sleepy. I think that since we are not doing a full-on fairy tale princess, we're sort of trying to ride the line between fairy tale and classic. I think Midnight Form is just a little bit further in the direction of that sort of fantastical approach. So I think we're gonna go sleepy. I'm gonna do sleepy. And like I said, I will come back and input the details of that at another time, and just make sure that it's filled out before it goes live on the Discord. So in addition to that, at third level, we are going to get Body of Magic and Grace. So let's go ahead and add that. And that is also going to be coming from class. And that is Now, at 3rd level, we get to choose 1. So, just as a reminder, we have Blinding Beauty, eyes as the ocean, hair of gold, lips of rose red, and voice of the goddess. Now, theoretically, if we were going to stay in this class progression, we could plan on acquiring more, but we're only going to be dipping our toes in and picking up 1. So I think Blinding Beauty fits this character really well. She is known, her reputation preceding her for being the most beautiful in the land. And I think that one is also gonna fit really well into a princess who is still magical, but sort of leaning more into this, more traditional side of things. Although I will hear an argument for Lips of Rose Red. Lips of Rose Red, I think, is very fun and versatile. It gives you, and like I said, I'm willing to expand it to be haste or enhance ability. And on top of that, we're doubling up our magic kisses. So we have Sleepy, which can only be cured with a magic kiss. And now we're gonna get, and now we could get Lips of Rose Red for another magic kiss. And then I think in the Princess, the Majesty, talents, there's also one that is kiss related. So, honestly, I'm very tempted just to make her a magic smoocher. But I'm really stuck between that and Blind Beauty. So, what do you guys think? I could always be really indulgent and pick up both, or maybe at a later level pick up another one. I am my own DM as far as I'm concerned, so I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna put Lips of Rose Red as our first one. And just say that this is my first choice. And then I'll just list Blinding Beauty. And if I decide to be really indulgent, or if I decide to change my mind later as I'm doing the build, I'll come back and balance that out. But for the time being, we are moving on. So that is what we're borrowing from the Fairy Tale Princess, but it's going to stop there. For our next improvements, which come at level 5, we're going to go back to the classic princess build. And so at level 5, she's going to get Classic Majesty, which is basically an improvement on what you already have in terms of this majesty mechanic. Doesn't sound exciting right now, but when it gets time to choose our princess abilities here in a second, I think it's going to come in very handy because they are very cool and it's going to be hard to choose. So this is coming from the classic princess, and this is 2 additional talents and extra majesty points equal to your charisma modifier. So I am just going to write 2 additional talents. Fill the details of that in later, what specifically it is, but so 2 additional talents and a majesty increase. At 7th level is when you're going to pick up Inspirational Presence. So we are stopping our build at 5th level right now, But at 7th, your inspiring words and healing go hand in hand. You can use inspiring call and inspiring touch together. And if you focus as an action, you have the ability to heal yourself, basically regain healing points to your pool. So an improvement in that regard. So that finally brings us to our talents. What are they going to be? So we get at 2nd level 2 majestic talents right off the bat. And you're gonna get an improvement on that every few levels. So at our level, we are looking at 5th level, 4 majestic talents normally. And we're gonna get an additional 2 from our subclass for 6 talents total. Which is, again, going to be super fun in a second because these talents are very cool. And that is going to come with 6 majesty points to play with. But again, we're going to get that improvement from our charisma modifier, which is 3 at the moment. So that's 9. And rather, I was looking at 4th level. It's actually at 5th. It's 8. Oh boy. Spoke too soon. Feature. So yeah, 5th we're gonna get 8 majesty points plus 3, bringing us to 11. So again, just the princessiest princess that ever did princess. You are so damn good at being a princess that you can use your princess talents. You get 2 more of them, and you get to use them more, which I think is great. So what talents do we want to choose? Well, let's turn around and take a revisit them. All eyes on me. You can use your action to force all eyes on you by unveiling yourself or doing some dramatic action, such as singing or playing an instrument. This is also going to charm your audience, and I added the special rider that if the charm fails or once it wears off, the audience will not know they've been charmed. I think this one goes extremely well with the blinding beauty feat from the Fairy Tale Princess, because you can force your audience to look at you and then blind them while they cannot look away. And this blinding is permanent. So even once the charm wears off, they will be permanently blinded and have no idea that you potentially did that on purpose. In fact. Very sneaky. Animal companion, which I think is like the better version of the cohorts. You get to pick an animal of challenge rating 4th or lower. Again, as the DM, I might allow something a little bit more, we grew up with like Jasmine and Raja. So like if you want a tiger to live out your best Jasmine fantasy, like I'm not gonna stop you. You go, girl. You do that. Some other options might be if you want to just live your Cinderella dreams. I might also be willing to accept, like, instead of just one mouse, like a swarm of mice, which sounds horrifying, but like that's kind of what they are. Only they would be adorable, and you would make them little clothes, and they would sing and do your chores. Very clean. But yeah, if it's a small size creature, or has a swarm, quote unquote, function, like I might allow that. Really, you've got tons of options. Just depending on what your DM is willing to put up with. And once again, I would also add the rider that the beast, it cannot be killed. We're not doing that. We're not going there. So if the beast is reduced to 0 HP, I think they would just go on like a spa day, and you would just have to wait, a day or however long, while they, recover and then come back. But I would allow you to change the beast type if you wanted to, like at will. You still have to spend a day, but you can do it. Aura of Protection basically is a shroud of protection from good and evil. You get an upgrade to that at 5th level, so we would be getting that upgrade. Berating words, where you can sort of like a scald, you can debuff an enemy just with your words. And charismatic instructions. So, and that's basically going to give you the suggestion spell. It's tough. I feel like Animal Companion might be a little too fantastical for this build, but I do love it. Oh, here we go. Lips of Bliss. This is the one that we can triple up on our magic kisses. You may kiss a creature and have it recover from its ailments as its body reasserts itself after your inspiring attention. As an action and at the expense of 3 majesty points, you may kiss a target and have them affected as though a lesser restoration spell was cast upon them. And at 11th level, you can upgrade this to greater restoration. Honestly, I cannot even think about it. I think I would allow, because a little limited. I know restoration is pretty good, but I think I would include also like Spare the Dying for the drama, like anime moment of like, the main character is like down for the count, they're unconscious, and the other main character like comes over and is crying or holding them, and their magic tear, like a single tear, falls onto them and it magically heals them and they rally in the last moment, like or the magic kiss. Like, I'm a sucker for that. So you know what, honestly, it's happening. We're doing it. I've talked myself into it. I'll make some modifications, make it a little bit more robust, and like I said, give it Spare the Dying. But yeah, I've talked myself into it. So this. And this is a class feature that is coming from the princess. This is a majestic talent. And of course, as usual, I will put in the details after. So that is one. One down. 5 to go. So I guess I can afford to be a little bit less precious about it. My hero, as an action and the expense of 1 majesty point, you may target an ally, and as if you casted heroism on them, except it does not require concentration. And they gain temporary hit points. I certainly think that that sounds promising. So I am going to pick up my hero. I think anything that involves like giving commands is really going to, or getting other people to be more effective at what they do, is going to suit this character very well. So let's go ahead and say class. And if that will stay, we'll hop down here to princess and say it's a majestic talent. There we go. And let's see. So that's my hero. I really like You Know Me. And like we were discussing earlier, how it's a little ambiguous. It's basically the ability to communicate with your chosen kind of party members non-verbally, as if by telepathy, sort of, but you can only communicate very simple messages. But you run into issues because the language is a little vague surrounding what constitutes a sufficiently simple message. So, potential, but a lot of that can be picked up in just role playing. Royal Shield. You may thrust forth an exertion of your majestic presence to defy the odds of combat. Spend 1 majesty point as a reaction of being a target, and ward yourself as per the Sanctuary spell, except the effect ends after the attack that caused the reaction. Oh, do something. Who am I kidding? Do something is for sure. This one even comes with an exclamation point. So that is going to come from our class. Come on. Why is it like this? Hates me. Go. Class. And it's going to be princess and majestic talent. Okay, go. And just as a reminder, or for people who were not here, when we covered this material, do something at the expense of 2 majesty points, and as a bonus action, you may force an ally to take an action by using up their reaction. They may take any action they would like and can take. So as long as it's possible, they can do it. So I think, let's see, there's Influence of Grace, which gives you advantage on deception and persuasion. Exert the Self, which is you can end the effects of being charmed or frightened. We're up to 2. Okay. I'm going to say Charismatic Instructions, which will give us the suggestion spell. Oh, so we're up to 3. Okay, so Beckbug Muffin says, I'm slowly falling in love with this character, though if it is who I think it is, I already was. No spoilers, but it probably is. So, you are definitely on the right track, I think. Oh my goodness, why is this not wanting to work for me? Okay, finally. The whole time Key was doing this, it never gave her any trouble. It was just me. Go. And so 1, 2, 3. This is our 4th. All eyes on me. Animal companion, aura of protection. Should that be our last? We've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 2 more. 5, 6. Why don't we do all eyes on me and animal companion. Protection from good and evil is also pretty good. But for the drama, right? Let's do all eyes on me and animal companion. And I will even give a couple custom animal companions based on popular princesses in fiction. So all eyes on me. Actually, where's an English major when you need one? Okay, it is not capitalized. Okay. So this is class. And we're gonna do this again. I see. Okay. And princess. Majestic. Talent. Boom. And last but not least, animal companion, or yeah, animal companion. You know, like I hadn't written her to have an animal companion in the backstory, but like whatever. She's a princess. Companion. This is gonna go with your class. Finally. And princess. Majestic. Talent. Haha. All right. And I'm just gonna list like some additional animals I would consider. What did I say? A bunch of mice. Technically would be a swarm of rats, but I kind of don't want to write it. A tiger. What are some other cheeky options? A donkey. Definitely a horse. Can't ignore our horse girls. Although they might, fit into this category anyway. I don't know if a stat sheet for this exists, but I would also accept a chameleon. Beck Muffins is a snick. Non-traditional, but a snick. So for sure, snick. That a snake probably also falls under the criteria that they have of being a challenge rating of a 4th or lower. Offhand, I'm not sure, but I'm almost certain. So things like cats and dogs and raccoons and stuff, like all of that is gonna fall under your typical like animals. Just to give you an idea, even a regular wolf is a challenge rating of a 4th. So, whereas a tiger is technically a challenge rating of 1. So that's why we would have to change that a little. But if we are talking a mermaid princess, I'm willing to hear shark. Technically, they're a challenge rating of a half. At least a reef shark is, but like, I don't know. I'm willing to take that. Heck, even a pseudo dragon is a challenge rating of 4th. Like, you got options. Panther is a 4th. Most birds by themselves are 0, so maybe I would hear an argument for like a flock of doves or ravens if you're like a goth princess. That certainly could be an option. A lion, I would allow a lion, even though it's technically a challenge rating 1. A giant eagle, I would be okay with that too, because that's cool as heck. Tolkien would be proud. A frog, I think a frog would be fine. A boar, certainly. Any kind of farm animal. And then last, I guess the last one, let me think. Are there any other weird ones? So just like I'm like running through my favorite princesses, like Princess Buttercup, Princess Buttercup, from Princess Bride, Zelda. I guess like that kind of gets covered with the wolf if you're thinking like Twilight Princess, but or even potentially the giant eagles, if you're doing Skyward Sword Zelda. I'm thinking Princess Mononoke, like she had that was like a giant wolf, so that would kind of be more like a dire wolf, but they're only challenge rating 1, so I'd also take that. Like I said, ROUS's, I don't believe they exist. Let's see. Frozen? Does the reindeer count? Even though that's kind of Sven's, not Sven, this is Kristoff's companion. Does this make Kristoff the actual princess in this scenario? I'm not. Or like, maybe they just like as a team, they collectively fill that quota. I would allow reindeer. I'm not sure if I have to put that. I guess I'll put deer, since it is maybe not something that is standard. Olaf is the animal companion. Yeah. Little Mermaid. We've got Flounder and Sebastian, Crab, and a fish. Like, they are definitely fall under a 4th, so they would be okay. We listed a tiger for Raja. Snow White kind of had like the entire forest, rather than one specific creature. It was like all of the rabbits and deer and birds and stuff. So, not really specific. Same kind of goes for Sleeping Beauty, right? She didn't really have an animal companion. It was just kind of like all the animals in the woods. Just loved her automatically. Goals, honestly. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, Merida, we could have like we could put the black bear. Okay, fine. That's very funny. I will put the black bear. Talked myself into it. Pocahontas, who's technically considered a Disney princess, had the raccoon and the little pug and the hummingbird. I'm not sure why you would want a hummingbird, but I mean, I would allow it. Oh yeah, Tiana did have a... Okay, you know what? There is a crocodile. So we'll just say alligator. That's right. I forgot that there was the friendly one in the swamp or whatever that they like hung out with. Didn't it like play a jazz instrument or something? Okay, that's good. I think we're good on princess references. I mean, okay, I lied. There is Princess Peach, who technically has Toad, I guess. And that's kind of funny because somebody on the Discord, I can't remember exactly who it was, posted a familiar that is basically just like a mushroom with a knife. I would allow mushroom with knife. It's so cute. But it specifically has to be that mushroom with a knife. So so this isn't gonna make sense to anybody who's not in the Discord, but I will list it. Mushroom with knife. Live your best Princess Peach life. Save yourself from that castle. And apparently I can't spell, so there we go. Okay, I fixed that. All right. Okay. Last minute, I'm thinking like any other princesses want to jump to the forefront of my mind. Princess Nausicaa, who is technically a princess from Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, and she has the Ohm, which are those giant insect things. Those were cool. I don't know how. I bet I could find a stat sheet for the Ohm because they're that awesome, but I don't know how I would make that work. Ionith says, so I occasionally have the stream muted so that I can do my work since you need to listen to something. Yeah. Rip. Alright, so that is Animal Companion, and that finally brings us up to our quota of 6 of these talents, I think. Yeah, so Lips of Bliss, My Hero, Do Something, Charismatic Instructions, All Eyes on Me, and Animal Companion. Perfect. So now we have class resources. Your total is going to be, we're going to get that improvement from your charisma modifier that you get from the subclass. So we are looking at your charisma modifier, which is 3 plus 8 at this level, brings us to 11. So 11 total for this class resource. And I wish I could rename it so that it would say like Majesty points, but I am not able to customize it to that degree yet. So maybe someday, Roll20, but right now, not quite. Oh, Iona says, oh man, for some reason it's not letting me post that other message, and it just goes, I convinced Dini to allow an alligator and mushroom with knife as animal companion. There we go, got it. I was abundantly confused. Dini convinced herself with a mushroom with a knife. I did. I thought of Princess Peach, and somebody posted in the magical creatures text channel in the Discord this mushroom familiar that is just a mushroom with a knife attack, and I was like, that's not gonna work, but then they sent art of it, and it's so cute that I had to allow it. So yeah, I did talk myself into it. If you are trying to make a comment and it's getting bounced, there are like some automatic filters, so it could have to do with like specific word choices or repetitive language or certain things like that. So I'm sorry, but feel free to message me on Discord or something if you're not able to get your words across here. But anyway, I think that for the most part does it. I think I will give her a weapon just so that she has a weapon option. And let's be real here, it's probably going to be the fan blade because that's awesome. So not a ton of melee options, but still certainly a lot of support options. So this is absolutely a support class for the most part, and really gonna shine outside of combat. I think, really an enabler who's gonna help other members of the party kind of be the best versions of themselves. Okay, good. Yeah, so sorry about that, but the gotta be keeping up with like what is okay with Twitch, and there are also some like bots that have like predictable phrases. They'll say the same things over and over again, and so people have started blacklisting those phrases because they're usually indicative of a bot. So it could be something like that. So sorry for the inconvenience, but it's just it's one of those things that helps make it so that even if I don't have a mod, I'm not missing stuff that could get us in trouble here. Okay. But yeah, with that, I think we're pretty set. I will put the details in and make sure that all of the features and spells and tools and stuff are listed so that they are accessible to anybody who wants to just like pick this character up and download. Oh, Seer, no, you're totally fine. It was just there was a comment that was getting bounced, and we didn't know why, and I was just saying I assume it's because it contains a word or a phrase that is blocked, and that we have like a few of those things that are automatically filtered. So it's not like a mod is sitting there banning your comment repeatedly. It's just being filtered automatically. And that is just so that if mods like Seer, who do amazing work and are super wonderful, step away to get a snack for just a moment, and some bot comes in and starts acting a fool, like, we're still covered. So that is why that is like that. Yeah, so I think that this is a good place to kind of end for the evening. But I had a great time hanging out with y'all, and I hope to see you all and even more on Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. EST. That's New York time zone in New York City. And we will be returning to our live play format and going on a adventure. So you can come along as a player, as a member of the chorus, as a time traveler, or as a lurker, whatever you want. But it's going to be loads of fun, and I hope to see you there. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing and maybe see little hints as I continue to prep, definitely check out the Discord if you're not in there already. The link is in my bio. But we have fun there. There's lots of neat little bots to play with. And of course, it is the way to keep up with my crazy hectic schedule as closely as possible. Oh yeah, thank you for posting it. Seer posted it in the chat too. So let's hop over. Yay! Okay. Who is up and about? Ooh, okay. We were having a Dungeons and Dragons, themed stream. So where better to send y'all than to an actual dragon? So I am thinking that if you guys are wanting to stick around, I am going to pass you off to Dragon Commander, who is streaming Final Fantasy, so very on brand. If you want to copy the raid message that Seer just posted, thank you so much, Seer. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so if you want, go ahead and copy that that raid message. Otherwise, just sit back, relax, hang tight, and I am going to try and set this up. I think I can do it. So, let's see. Let's see. Like that. Thanks, Seer. Why do I always forget if it's a slash or... I just did it too. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get better at this. Thank you. Okay, here we go. This, and then, and then I think that's a 0 instead of an O. And then that. All right. Okay, I think this is gonna work. So I had a lovely time, and hopefully I will catch you on Wednesday. Okay. I think that's gonna be it. So have a good rest of your night, everyone. Happy Purim. And I'll talk to you later.